Hey everyone, welcome to another Joe Gomez guitar lesson. I just moved and I can't find my normal camera, so I'm using the laptop one again. So if it's hard to hear me, I'm sorry. Let me know and I'll maybe record this one over again. This one should be a pretty quick one. This is just going on with the interval thing. And it's just kind of an easy way to come up with arpeggios and scales using the different shapes that you learned. So the first thing we'll talk about is arpeggios. So to build arpeggios, you can actually build them from intervals rather than thinking about the particular scale that it comes from. So let's just take a C chord, and what we'll do is we'll apply intervals to it. So to make a C major arpeggio, what we need to know is that it has a major third in it, and it has a perfect fifth. And so if you remember the shapes that we did, playing C, this is the 8th fret on the 6th string, that's my C note. If you kind of remember from the major third shape, I could go there, and I could also go here. That major third note is an E. So I've got two different ways that I could play that. And then if you remember from the interval shapes, the perfect fifth is kind of like the rock power chord. So it's that note right there. So I can come up with this shape, or I can come up with this shape. There's one other place that you should have practiced the perfect fifth interval, and that would have been right here. So that gives me another shape that I can play a major arpeggio from. So I don't remember how many that was, but we've got 1, 2, and 3. The nice thing about the guitar is these shapes kind of hold true no matter where you're at, except for when you've got the B string in play, and then all you've got to do is move whatever you would normally play up 1 fret. So if I started at this C, I'd still have the same shapes. Which kind of makes that C chord that everybody's used to playing. Same thing from here. Now normally we would play here, but since it's the B string, we're going to move it up 1 fret. So I'm playing the notes C, E, and G pretty much all over the neck in a fairly easy way, and I've got the particular shape kind of memorized at that point from doing the interval exercise from before. So if we wanted to make all these arpeggios minor, we need to know that you need your root, the minor third, and the perfect fifth. So we could come up with this shape. So it's taking the major third shape and moving it down a fret, making it the minor third. Same thing here. We could also do this. So now we've got C, E flat, and G in a couple different directions. Another chord quality that's good to know is the augmented chord, and that's root, major third, sharp 5. So it starts off like our major arpeggio, but our sharp 5 is in there now. Alright, you could also play it the other way, and the other direction. Alright. The other one, the other fourth quality would be diminished, and you need to know that that's root, minor third, and then flat 5. So it's, just like the minor arpeggios, if you're this fifth, which is G, you're moving it down to a G flat. And this one's kind of a stretch, but you can still do it. Alright. You could explore sus chords if you wanted to. What a sus chord is either it's changing the third to either a major second or a perfect fourth. So for like a C major sus 2 chord, would be C to the major second, which is D, and then your perfect fifth. Go the other direction if you wanted to. You can make the stretch. And then going across strings. And then doing a sus4 chord would be replacing the third with a perfect fourth. And again, if you remember perfect fourths, it's kind of how the guitar is tuned. So it makes that shape kind of easy to play. So it's 1, make this stretch, you can do it that way as well. Right. From there, you could start adding more to it, and you can come up with extending the range of your arpeggio, adding in. So if you wanted to play a major 7th chord, you would need to know you need to make your major triad, and then add a major 7th to that. Alright, and again, you would want to do that from all the different directions that you had learned. A couple different ways to finger all these different arpeggios, but they're all coming from those interval shapes that I explained how I see the guitar in the last video. So if none of this makes any sense, go back to the other video and look at how I kind of take the intervals for one note and go through all of them. You could even do this with some of your alterations. So say you wanted to play like a dominant 7 flat 9 chord. So you would need to know how to make a dominant 7th chord, which is basically a major chord with a flat 7 in it. So this 1, 3, 5, here's the flat 7. In this case, it's a B flat. And we'd have to think of what a flat 9 is. Well, a flat 9 is the same thing as a minor 2nd interval. So we could see where a minor 2nd is in comparison to C, which would be adding a D flat note. So we got kind of that diminished sound going by just adding that flat 9 to the arpeggio. Sorry. Right. If we just wanted a regular 9, it's the same thing as having a major 2nd interval, which is what I accidentally played. Right. This is root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7, and then adding the major 2nd to that, which in this case would be the 9. It is now D. Right. If you wanted to do this with scales, you could do the same thing. So let's take let's do some of the dominant scales that people aren't as familiar with, like the Lydian dominant scale or whatever other names people give that. But basically, the way that I see the scale, it's the dominant scale with a sharp 11 or sharp 4. So using the building blocks of intervals to go through the scale, we have the root, we have a major 2nd, and you could go here if you wanted to. I'm just showing you one example. You've got a major 3rd, then you've got your sharp 4, then you've got a perfect 5th, which is that power chord thing. Then you've got your 6, flat 7, and then you're back at the root. So from learning the intervals, I could kind of come up with that kind of a cool sounding scale out of that. You could even do this with altered scale. So here we've got our root. And so you need to know the interval buildup to make the scale to do it, but I'll go ahead and give you this one. So this one has a flat 9 in it. Right. It's also got a sharp 9, which is kind of like having a sharp 2 or a minor 3rd interval. Then it's got its major 3rd. Then you would have a sharp 4, flat 5. And you've got the sharp 5. Right. So far you've got root, flat 9, sharp 9, major 3rd, sharp 4, or flat 5. There's the sharp 5. Then you have your flat 7, and then you're back at your root. Right. So once you break it down like that, as far as the smaller intervals, it's not as hard to kind of visualize how that shape is built, and you kind of remember it a little bit better. And you can go whatever direction you kind of desire. Just thinking about those little pieces of the interval shapes and going from that one note and kind of relating it back. So the reason I wanted to bring up this lesson was because of the last one with the intervals. I always find for me to learn a concept, I need to apply it to some sort of theory or some sort of playing. So that's where this comes into play. I'm taking those interval shapes and I'm applying it to learning arpeggios. I'm applying it to learning scales. And of course, when you're playing scales, you want to work the interval shapes in there that are naturally part of the scale, like we did with some of the scale exercises and the other practice videos. But now we're kind of breaking it down to where we can see these different intervals and how they move, and I think you'll start to grow more appreciation for them rather than just thinking, major third, you know. Which is great to learn, but I think with this way of thinking, you'll appreciate the actual build up of everything, and I think you learn it a little bit faster and a little bit easier. It starts to make a little bit more sense as far as where the shapes of the guitar come from and how to build things. And after you've practiced it for a little while, everything starts to come together a little bit better. So again, sorry, I'm using just my laptop's microphone and camera, so if this wasn't very clear, let me know. Maybe I'll go back through this video again and make it a little bit better. But I hope everybody got something out of this, and I'll see you guys next week.